A lose-lose trade war. That's how the UN is describing the ongoing tariff spat between Washington and Beijing. And it says one group in particular seems to be losing out the most.
What we find is that, at least in the initial phase of the trade war, most of the cost of the tariffs has been passed down to U.S. consumers or firms.
American consumers may be bearing the brunt of their country's trade war with China, but Beijing is hurting too. Its exports to the U.S. fell by more than a quarter in the first half of the year, representing a loss of $35 billion. This, according to Tuesday's UN report, which also outlined which Chinese sectors have been the hardest hit. The top two, office machinery and communications equipment, which saw exports to the U.S. fall by $15 billion. But other countries are stepping up to fill that gap. Mainly Taiwan, which boosted exports to the U.S. by $4.2 billion in the first half of the year. Mexico also increased U.S. exports by $3.5 billion, and the EU by $2.7 billion. Washington and Beijing have suggested that talks are progressing, but few details have been made public. But if negotiations fail, nearly all Chinese exports to the U.S., worth some $500 billion, could be subject to tariffs by the end of the year.